before. Right, so your name and where you're joining us from. Okay, all great. So as usual, I'm going to share my screen now, and I need you to confirm whether or not you can see it. And then we just go through our lectures today. Right? So we have a beautiful conversation to have today. And let me pause and say, so I'm going to share my screen now. Femi, how are you doing? Hope you're good. You don't want to see apartment types, want to buy house, Femi. Are you buying a house? Let me know now. We are looking to buy house. You know, put out to marry now that I'm looking to sell property for, not buy house. So Femi, where's Femi joining us from? Where's Femi joining us from? Femi laughing. I want to buy a house now. Let's know now. Abby? So, in case you're joining us for the first time, I want to say welcome. This is Zee Realty School, right? It's a subsidiary of Zee Realty Limited. And what we do is as often as we can, we meet weekly on our weekly school. And we, in about 30 minutes, always a quick session, we trash out, a subject on real estate. So every time you attend the Zee Realty School, you will leave the Zee Realty School way better than you came. So today, please permit me, I made this error. This is actually meant to be, let's talk house types. Because an apartment is actually a type of a house. Right, so am I forgiven? Now, you may think this is not important. But when I finish the lecture today, you will now realize why not knowing a type of house can cost you millions. First to buy, and then next to sell, right? So, as usual, my name is Bolu Okwade. I'm fondly called Realtor Zee. Let me see if you guys listen to my videos. There's something I say at the end of every video. As usual, it's what? Realtor Zee and what? Completely. Let me wait. Let's see if you guys are here with me. As usual, I remain Realtor Zee. Your what? Let me see if you guys watch my videos with your spirit, soul, and mind. Your plug for the best real estate deals. Come on. You see, that alone is really important. You must be able to create your line and say it so often that it sticks in people's heads. Right? This is how I always say, your plug for the best real estate investment. So I'm a seasoned real estate investment strategist. And every time I say I'm a real estate investment strategist, I have. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Great. So every time I say I'm a real estate investment strategist, I usually have to make things clear that I'm not a realtor, right? Although being a realtor is part of what I do, but I sit down with a lot of data to try and help my clients to make the most profits that they can, right? And CEO of Zee Realty, when clients helping Gen Zs to invest in properties the Z way, right? Which is the easy way, really. Easy way. Not saying can help you if you are above 50, 60, 70. It can help you, right? But primary target is something with agencies. So let's move on. We're having a conversation today, and we're talking house types. So I'm going to beg us to be very responsive for two reasons. Number one, if you're not responsive, you see, when the if the network breaks, I don't know, and I'll just keep talking, right? So I want to first of all ask you guys a very important question, and that question is: how many of you have sold a house before? You've sold a house before, or you have bought a house before, or you have parents that have bought a house before. If you have done that type bought. So either one, you have sold a house before. Number two, you have bought a house before. You've been there where parents have bought the house before. Great. Now, let me ask you. So someone here got 7 says but. So what I mean you've been there, I mean maybe you were living in a former apartment, then you moved into the house once they bought it. That's what I'm saying. So if you any of those situations type bought. Now, I want you to narrate, is there anybody here that when your parents bought the house, you moved in, and at some point in time, they thought this was a wrong purchase? This was a wrong purchase. If that has happened to anybody, say wrong purchase. Maybe the quality wasn't the best, or it didn't fit what you guys wanted, or the area was terrible, or whatever. Right? If any of you have experienced any of these things, I want you to type wrong purchase. Or you just see your parents complaining that, God, if I catch a realtor, if I catch the development company that sold this thing to me, right? Some people even try to refund, right? So Prosper Raymond says wrong purchase. So Prosper, I want to ask you, can you tell us the story? What exactly happened in the house? What happened in the house that your parents were maybe furious, or just give me two statements. Are you with us, Prosper Raymond? Maybe the plumbing work wasn't good. Just talk to us quickly. There's a reason why I'm giving you guys this preamble. See, as a realtor, or as somebody who is planning to buy, somebody who is planning to sell, I want you to know how important this is. It can influence everything, and we're going to take a case study at the end of this. Right, so I'm waiting for, and then we just fire on. So I'm waiting for Prosper Raymond's feedback. So let's wait for her feedback and see what she says. Right? These sessions are short, usually about 15 minutes for out of here. But this thing I'm teaching you can save you millions, right? Can save you millions. And while she's answering, let me say this. Let me tell you something. Real estate is a high trust business. And there are many reasons people are going to trust you. Number one, because of your brand, personal brand. Sometimes because of your experience. Sometimes because of your knowledge. But let me tell you, ultimately, you always want to make yourself look like an expert to your clients. This is quite important. You always want to look like an expert. If at any point in time, they can ask you a question, and that question throws you off balance, what you have done is you have reduced their confidence. So this is how confidence works. It's like a jar of water. Every action you do is either adding to that jar or is taken out of that jar. I'll give you an example. I was on a call with a friend to, I think, one of the head of investments of a big bank. And I was having a conversation with her this week. And she said something. She said she wants to purchase some Amcon houses. So let me pause and ask you guys. Does anybody here know what Amcon houses are? If you don't know, type I don't know. Do you know what Amcon houses are? Some of you don't know. You have never heard of it before. Good. So here am I, standing in front of one of the head of investment of one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. And she says Amcon. Now, if I had not studied wide, I was going to be blank. Are you with me? But Amcon, they are the ones that would go and take over non-performing loans. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you drop your collateral for me, let's say a house, and you take a loan from the bank and then you don't want to pay, you're owing us money, Amcon can come and recover the property and then they can sell it. So at that point, if she mentioned, Prosper, I'm still waiting for your story. If she mentioned Amcon and I said, what's that, man? Something will happen in this container. The trust to go down, maybe to this level. But then within a split second, funny part is, I didn't know what it was, but I've heard it, I've encountered it. I didn't know the full meaning of Amcon, but I think I read it somewhere. I went for a conference, and that's why it's good to go for conferences. I went for a conference at one point in time, and the lady was saying that, her story, it wasn't concerning real estate. She was about to buy a business, the business was owing AMCON. So she went to AMCON and said she wanted to. That's how I knew about AMCON. That's the first time. In fact, the first time I heard AMCON, December 2023, that conference. And when she said it, the thing just clicked in my head. And so she started talking. So she called the name of the houses that she recovered. I think one was Zani Allison. They recovered some houses and they wanted to sell. Immediately she said it, I knew that was the correct thing that I was thinking about. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this woman is talking in my head. I'm saying, oh Jesus, I must not mess up. Are you guys with me? And then immediately she was done. I said, oh wow. Because the truth is that I wouldn't sell those kind of houses. So I said, ma, the truth is that those kind of houses, they may not be bad deals, they may be great places, but the challenge with them is, you see, anywhere there is fighting and anywhere there is, plus and minus confusion, it could be a risky thing. You are in your 40s now, and if you probably invest in a house to live in, right, that means you're probably planning to look at it maybe all through your retirement years, right? In 25 years from now, are you with me? Yeah, Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria. In 25 years from now, ma'am, are you aware that if there's a court case on that place and they lose, that means you've lost the roof over your head. And worst case, you won't be working again. She said, that's true. Let's go back to the property you are talking about. That's how I was able to tilt her back. Are you with me, guys? So you've got to have basic knowledge of these things. So I'm saying somebody comes to you now and says, I want to buy a maisonette, or I want to buy I just give you an example of how I almost lost a deal because I didn't know what AMCON was. So I dragged her back to the properties I was offering that were not AMCON deals. Are you with me? This is important. That's how I moved her back. Because she was going to go and meet somebody who wanted to sell this kind of property. And actually, truthfully, okay, I'm going to read Prosper Ramos. Truthfully, that was actually what was going to happen, or had a chance of happening. Luckily, I said, it's true. I said, ma, I now made it worse. I said, ma, if you actually are investing in that property or if I buy property to invest, because if they take it, you just lose your money. But if you are buying that property to live in, then it's worse. Because if they take it, you don't just lose your money. You now lose the roof over your head. But I don't think by 65, 70, you want to be looking for where to stay. By the time I painted the picture, immediately, AMCON left the conversation. And that's how skilled you have to be as somebody who is selling. You need to be able to have and guide the conversation. You know what a gutter does to water, right? The gutter guides the water to flow. You need to, anyway, we'll talk about that. Master the skill of guiding your conversation. And one thing that helps you to guide conversation is proper knowledge. So somebody says, I want to buy a bungalow. I want to buy a duplex. You need to know why and why not, and how to tilt the conversation to something that you think is more optimal. Because many people don't know their problems. When you go to a doctor, something is wrong, then you have a conversation with the doctor. The doctor tells you what is wrong and then gives you what to solve it. But when people come to a realtor, many a times they come with what they want. And sometimes what they want is not what they need. And as a professional person, one of the ways to show expertise is to analyze what they need and sometimes help them see that what they want is not going to sort out what they need. Once you can do this for anybody, oh my goodness, you're going to make a lot of money. Sometimes you lose money moving them. I remember losing commission. We moved from a place of where they were going to pay us about 15% commission to another place where they paid us 3.5% commission, because that was what was best for our clients. And the 3.5 says we are still dragging, they have not paid us. Are you with me? So you need that experience. So Prosperman said they had issues with the neighborhood. When we moved in, furniture were bad, we lacked light most of the time. The landlord just used to come up with bills from nowhere. And the person said no, most likely there was even service charge and all of that. So let's move on. House types. So I'm going to run through house types, and then there's a conversation we need to have after this, which is the most important conversation. Are you with me? So never in your life as a realtor should they call a kind of house and you don't know what it means. Are you with me? Because if somebody is going to give you 500 million, you need to be able to show them that you know what you are doing. You know what you're doing. Are you with me? You need to be able to show them this, that you know what they are doing. You need to be able to show them that you know what they are doing. And then when you can answer basic questions like this, that trust is going to be gone. So the first kind of house is bungalow. Let me ask, who does not know what a bungalow is here? If you don't know, type I don't know. Don't see, type I don't know what a bungalow is. Great. So now a client tells you, I want to build a bungalow or I want to buy a bungalow, and they say you don't know what it is. As some of you don't even know how to hide when you don't know things. I remember one day I was in an interview with a newspaper, and the first question they asked me, some of you, in fact, let me see if I can get, who has, when I had the interview with Punch last year, who has that newspaper link? Let me get it for you. I'll see if I can get, I'm telling you, the first time they asked me, it's the first time I heard it in my life. I'm being honest with you. So sometimes people go to, interviews like Punch and all those things, and they tell them they want to, to interview them. They pay for it. We did pay for our own. Punch came to meet us. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's different. Punch came to meet us. Are you with me? I was on my own, and then they sent us a message, and we granted them the interview. So I'm trying to see if I can find that question. So I don't think I asked that question. They didn't put it in the interview. So there's a question they asked me, right? Live loads and dead loads. I had never heard it in my life. But then I said, what did you say? You're talking too fast. As I was saying it, I've gone to Google. I've got to Google to go and check. My Jesus. I said, okay, yeah. And I had a conversation. You need to have this composure, guys. Anyways, so bungalow. So what's a bungalow? A bungalow is basically, let me put it in the most basic way, house that does not have upstairs. A one-story building. Right? Now, bungalows are scarce, especially in a place like Lagos. Why? Because land is expensive. So why build one unit here? So this is a picture of a bungalow. Instead of that, they will build maybe 4 units, divide into 6, sell. Because the land is not plenty. It's when you go to places like Kano, you go to the north where they have a lot of land, or not even necessarily the north. You go some places where land is not that expensive. Oshun, Oshogbo, you see bungalows, but you can almost never see an estate of bungalows in Lagos. If you see that kind of estate, it's far. So developers are always in the middle of two things. This one is usually cheaper to build. So it's either they spend less money building, or they spend more money maximizing their land. So this is what a bungalow is. So from today, I commission you, Kennedy Clinton, and who else said it? Today you will never hear the word bungalow and say you don't know. Amen. Yeah, everybody type amen. Let's go to the next one. Great. Number 2 is what we call block of flats or apartments. That's why I said this. The caption had an error. It's house types, apartments. So some people say not everybody lives in an apartment. Now this is what apartment looks like. So you see a building like this, and then they're now block of flats. So usually this one can be 2-bedroom, right? Like that, all in the same. So it's one building divided into plenty access like that, and they share the same compound. Do you understand? So that's only called an apartment. You don't own the entire house. You only own, or you only renting, a fraction of the house. So usually, like I said, this house, they'll be the same thing, but this is one apartment, like that. So I don't want to see you calling this kind of house stand alone. This is not an apartment, it's a bungalow, right? And this is an block of flats or apartments. Are you with me? So let's move on. Like I said, the real conversation I want to have at the back. Number 3, terrace. Let me pause. How many of you know what a terrace is? Confess your sins. Confess your sins before I catch you myself. I'll pick at random now and tell someone to describe a terrace for me. If you know what the terrace is, what's a terrace? So people that don't know terrace, you want to embarrass me? But please stop walking. Got to judge all of you. Right. So back to what I was saying. So we're having that conversation about the terraces. So are you with me? Are you with me, guys? Terrace. So what a terrace is essentially is, can you see this kind of building? How many of you? Oh, sorry. How many of you have seen this kind of buildings where it seems like they are sharing the same roof? Sorry, they are sharing the same roof, and then each person has like a small. Sometimes there's no compound safe. It's all together. Just park two cars in front. So this is what we call a terrace, a connected string of buildings all sharing the same roof usually. Are you with me? That's what we call a terrace. And they're actually in a series of rows, so maybe like three, maybe like four together. Does that make sense? So usually these are the kind of buildings that most developers build. So I get a plot of land like this, right? I just segment it back, build 2, 3, 4, 5 of the same thing, give everybody two parking space. I mean, developers of Lagos don't really expect you to make it like that, you know. I mean, why should you have more than two cars? So you give it two parking space, and like that. So each person will buy one theory. Sometimes a plot of land safe, they will do it like this. Most of you most likely live in a house like that, and they divide it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then each person has his parking space. You drive in, and then you go. Are you with me? So that's that about that. So do we understand? So when you see houses like this, somebody says, "I want a terrace." You know what the person is looking for. You don't look like, terrace. What do you mean that? No, you know what the person is looking for. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, type sense. Let's fire on to the next one. Now the next one is semi-detached. Now, what does the word detached mean? Let me ask. What does the word detached mean? Can somebody send me a dictionary definition of the word detached? Detached. If you say I'm detached from him or from her, separated, good. To separate, exactly. So when they say semi-detached, it means it's not fully separated. Are you with me? Is half of it is separated, the remaining half is connected. Does that make sense? So that's what detached means. So look at this house now. Can you see? This part is connected, but this part is not connected. That's how a semi-detached house is. So can you see why this is a bit different from the terrace? If it was a terrace, you now see another one here, all connected like that. But this is semi-detached. Are you with me? Semi-detached. And so usually this right side is a mirror. This side is a mirror of this side. Can you see? That's usually how semi-detached is. So this is how I like to put it in basic English many a times. Semi-detached, they are sharing one fence, sharing one part of the building. Usually they share the fence. So the houses are joined together. So this person has his own, that person has his own. Right? So I don't want to, spend too much. They're fully detached, as the name implies. Can you see? There's no joint anywhere. The entire compound is free, and then usually the house in the middle. So this is fully detached, and it's usually the most, well, maybe not the most expensive. Depends on the area you're in, but it's usually one of the most expensive kind of houses. So it's fully detached, and then we have penthouse. So somebody says, "I want a house that has a penthouse." This is what they are looking for. So at the top of the house, usually, let me put it in basic lane term. Penthouse is basically a house in the roof. Do you understand? So can you see the roof? And there's a small house here. So most people, penthouse communicates luxury to them. So they say, I want a penthouse and all of that. So that's exactly what a penthouse looks like. Now, this is the most important part of this conversation. Are you with me? So now, listen. As a realtor, follow me. I've said it many times. You need to be able to prove expertise. Did you hear what I just said? You need to be able to prove expertise. The moment you can show your clients, right, that you're an expert, many a times you have won their trust. And so let's look at 5 factors to consider, because let me tell you the truth. You're going to meet clients that have money. How many of you know those are the worst kind of clients? No, not worst, but the responsibility is more on you. It's different when a client comes to say, I want to buy land. I want to buy land in Ekpe. Easy. I just gotta look for land in Ekpe. What's your budget? Easy peasy. But how many of you have experienced when a client comes and says, I have 100 million. I trust your word. I don't know what to do with it. But wherever you tell me to put it, I will put it. How many of you know now your heart is beating? How many has happened to you before? That is beating, like literally beating. Know that there's fire on the mountain because anything that happens, is going to hold you. So listen, I want you to look. The first thing, when you want to choose a house for investment, when you want to choose a house for your clients, one of the first questions you ask is why. This is one of the most important questions. Why do you want to buy a house? So the person says, I want to live in it. The person says, I want it for investment. So let's see, to live and then investment. We're running up now. These sessions are short sessions. That's the next thing. So the next thing you want to ask yourself is, if it's for investment, what's the profit model of the customer? What do I mean? Okay, do you want to buy it and sell it off? Do you want to buy it and rent it out? Do you want to buy it and use it for short let? You see, why it's important is because buying and selling, apartments that will be best for that. They are kind of as the best for that in different locations. If you want to do a short let, you can't, well, it depends. Most of the short lets, rarely will you find a 5-bedroom short let. I'm telling you, most of the short lets are 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom max apartments. Then you buy a 6-bedroom mansion. Then you say you want to use for short lets. Your occupancy rate is going to be low, most likely. So you need to find what the person wants to use for. If it's rent, what kind of rent does she want? So let me give you an example. If you are in Yaba, you're in Surulere. If you're in Pedro, that's Bagada, right? Bagada. These kind of places, let me use and explain number 3. The demographic in these people in this place are young people. How many of you know that? Young people. Most of the demographic in these places, right? Especially Yaba. Yaba has a lot of, tech people in that place. That's where a chunk of startups are. And so go and check. I'm going to give you guys an assignment. Go and check. Almost all the developments in Yaba are studio apartments. Studio apartments and 1-bedroom, maybe max 2-bedroom. You'll almost not see anybody building 4-bedroom duplex in Yaba. Go and check. Just Google. Why? Because the demography of those people, that's what they need. So now you went to go and buy a 6-bedroom mansion in Yaba. It's going to be difficult to sell it. So you need to be able to advise your client like that. Right? So location. Like I just said, what is useful in Yaba may not be useful in Banana Island. May not be useful in Ekpe. Now, Ekpe, for example, is a place that is developing. It's full of lands. If you go there now, you go to Ekpe and then you go and build a 6-bedroom, 6-bedroom duplex. Let me even luxury duplex. You have to tell what's up, they will rob you. Because it's like you are the only one that's a palace in the big place. That place is not developed yet. Are you with me? So these are the kind of conversations you need to be able to have with your clients, right? So the profit model is important. Number 2 is the location. Like I've just explained, different locations will have different things that you can buy in that area. For example, the hub of shortlets, the place that has the most purchases now, I think it's the most bookings. I think it's the Lekki Phase 1. Lekki Phase 1. Lekki Phase 1. I mean, the chances of opening a shortlet in that region and then not getting booked is low if you're on the right platform and your shortlist is optimal. Why is that? Because how many of you have been to Lekki Phase 1? If you have been to Lekki Phase 1, type Lekki Phase 1. So let me tell you something. In Lekki Phase 1, so at some point in time, I used to work in a real estate company, like 3-4 years ago. And I used to live far away. I'll tell you, I've said this story many times. I used to live far away. And then something happened. So I used to get to work quite late because of traffic. So I made up my mind that I wasn't going to get to work late again. So I started leaving my house by 4 a.m. So if you have been in, on the island, 30 minutes can make a lot of difference. So if you left my house, I think 5, you get to the office 6. If you left 5:30, you get to the office 9. That's how the island traffic is. Just 30 minutes can change your life. So I started leaving quite early. Now, the first time I left early, I got there and I was shocked. Now, if you've gone to Lekki Phase 1, one of their major roads is called Admiralty. Now, on that road, there's almost nothing you can think of. Bank, gym, clubs, restaurants, Domino's, so that road is one of, I think I was doing a research, checking out some data for my clients. We got a property in a mall for him there. That road is the busiest commercial road, I think, in the entire Lagos. No, in the entire island, I'm not sure, please. So we're looking at it. So that place has a lot of business. Now, in the way it works is that inside, you now have, let me draw on a fresh page. So you see, the road, and then inside, you now have estates. So houses, and then inside, houses. But by this road here, let me change the color. Off the main road, you have a lot of commercial activity. I mean, a lot of malls there. So I got there that morning, early in the morning. So you don't have residential here. So this is how it works. Early in the morning. And then I came down and I was surprised. The first thing I saw when I got there was I saw prostitutes on the way. All right. Now, the way I was cultured, my parents trained me in a way I had never seen prostitutes in real life. That's the first time. It's only in film I used to see that there's prostitutes. I said, oh, prostitutes actually exist in real life. So then I went forward because I had to trek a distance to my office. When I got to my office, I now saw boats. How many of you know these small boats, Ubago? Those small ones, those small Suzuki. And plenty drafts. So I was like, was there a fight here? What happened? Why do we have a lot of cars parked here? And then I moved forward, and then I saw drivers standing with the cars. So I said, what's going on? Then I now realized that there were a lot of clubs around those places. So listen, what will happen is they will come to club because it's commercial space. They will get a lot of people into the clubs. Now, some of these people would need to sleep with prostitutes. So the prostitutes located the demand and they positioned themselves around there. Then, when the guy or the lady meets the prostitute partner, the next thing that they will need is a place to stay. Is this making sense to you guys now? So what will happen is, to get to the place to stay, they will need a driver. So the clubs were bubbling, Uber drivers were packed, and short legs were cashing out. Because when he picks up the lady, that's not the only reason why they use short legs. But that's what I'm saying. You've got to be able to ask yourself the demand in the area. That's number 4, the demand in the area. Demand in the area. What is it? What does it look like? Are you aware that if you go almost opposite Lekki Phase 1 to Oniru, the volume of demand for shortness there is way less? Are you with me? And then the demography. How many of you know there are silent places where there's old money in this Lagos? You now see that people in VI, they are learning work. How many of you know those places? If you know those places, type. When you hear of a place like Magodo, have you heard of a place like Magodo? Sorry. You have a place like Magodo. Old money, Magodo. Everybody's just in their house. You will not know. Billionaires. Even contrary to what I thought, if you go to Agege, that road, I'm telling you the truth, you just see estates. Those kind of places where old money is, there's a higher chance of selling bigger houses, because most people that buy those kind of houses are buying their retirement home. And that's why many of you can't understand why somebody goes to Ikoyi and then buys a house for, I was looking at Herbert Wigwe that just passed on of blessed memory. That guy bought his house for 30 billion naira. If you see that house, you will reject poverty. I'm telling you the truth. You will reject poverty with your body, with your soul, and your spirit. You will reject poverty. Go and check it when I'm done with come. If you Access Bank, say Access Bank on YouTube, Herbert Wigwe's house. But then that was their retirement home. Are you with me? So you need to be able to check the profit model of the guy's plan to rent, location, the demographic, the demand. And the last thing is the amenities. I just explained to you how, because of bars in a place, people needed shortlets. I explained to you how, because of tech hubs in Yaba, most people there, even in Yaba, that's where Unilag is located. Right? And so because Unilag is located there, a lot of people in the school need to have places to stay. So almost all the developments around Yaba, you just see studio apartments or one bed. That's what you see. One bed, studio apartment, maximum 2 beds. So when you scan the area, the amenities in the area, sometimes you're able to find out what kind of thing is optimal. And so this kind of things, this kind of homework you need to be able to do. So if somebody says, I have 100 million, I say, what kind of income do you want? Do you want long term? Do you want short term? If you want short term, do you want to manage it? Do you want to not manage it? Right? How much are you looking at to invest? For example, with like 6.5 million, I could get you a long lease in Yaba. Bring the money, get the long lease in Yaba. They're going to pay you rent for 17 years. After 17 years, property reverts back to them. Right? And that's something young people are doing now. So instead of renting per year, some people have 6.5 million. Dollar is crazy now. That's just about $2,000, $3,000. 6.5 million. They'll rent it. They have a home for 17 years. Before 17 years, look at your age, 20. At 17 years, 37. Before 17 years expires, they have bought another house and they never had to pay rent. That's the model people are looking for now. So you need to be able to have these conversations with your clients. It shows that you know what you're doing. Right, we're 3 minutes to the end of this session. As usual, if you have any questions, you can send me a message on, or you're looking to buy property, you can send me a message on WhatsApp, Instagram, and send us a message, an email. We're active on all channels and really responses. So let me pause and ask, did you guys receive value from this session? Did it make sense to you? Did I waste your time? So let me quickly, while I'm waiting for your responses, let me quickly say something. Studio apartments. I just realized I've been saying it. I've not explained it. It's basically an apartment. This is how it looks. Your bed is here. Everything is in one room. Your bed is here. Your kitchen sink can be here. Maybe there'll be a toilet here. And then your sitting room is here. Do you understand? Everything is one room. That's what we call studio apartments. All right. So it's usually for young professionals or people who are just starting out life. They don't need much space. So I hope you guys received value and I hope this made sense to you. I'm sure that I'll see you guys next week. Next week, we're going to be having, you know what? Let me show you guys something. So next week, we're going to be having can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? So next week's session is going to be special, right? Please, let me just drop a poster for you guys. We're going to be having every last Saturday of the month. Remember when we didn't have Zee Realty School for a while? And I told you guys we were cooking. People know that when I cook, the soup is always sweet. The soup is always sweet. Soup is always sweet. So let me share something with you. So we're gonna have a show every last Saturday of the month. Right. So it's called the Under 40 Real Estate Trailblazers Show. So what's going to happen is we're going to bring people who are doing amazing stuff that are under 40. We're going to have conversations with them. So next week we're going to have Sean Rich Boss. Rich Boss has over, I think, 3,000 realtors. 3,000 realtors in their community, right? The under 40. And we have a series of them every Saturday. We're going to have those conversations and we're going to see all of them. Does that make sense, guys? So we're hoping to see you guys next week. Thanks so much for joining in. 45 on the dot. Show that you guys receive. Have an amazing day, everyone.